there's one thing that I find really annoying about owning different pieces of camera gear, it's that all of the attachments to attach your camera to these pieces of gear are all completely different. You have the ones that slide on, you have the ones that clip on, you have the ones that have little levers. It's always a nightmare trying to remember that you have the correct plates with you to attach your camera to your correct piece of gear that you want to be using at a specific time. For example, it gets really annoying when your camera is on your tripod and you want to take it off your tripod and put it onto a gimbal, because your gimbal might have a completely different attachment system to the one you use on your tripod. So you've got to take the plate off of your tripod, unscrew it, usually with a little knife or something, because it doesn't have a little ring on it to unscrew it, which is a bit of a nightmare. And then you've got to find the correct plate for your gimbal and hope you remember.
2,000 years later.
You've got to reconnect the correct plate again. It's just all a bit of a faff, and it takes forever sometimes because you're rooting through your bag trying to find the correct plate, and I'm maybe exaggerating a little bit, but it's just another thing to worry about when you are out shooting. And when you are out shooting on a long day, when you've got a whole day shoot planned and you need to get those shots as quickly and efficiently as you can, this just takes up time that you could be spending shooting. It might seem like a small issue, but it's really annoying. If only there was another quicker and easier way and you could save all of this hassle. What if I told you there was? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. The Ulanzi Claw quick release. Let's get into it. Now very quickly, just before we go any further, if you are new here to this channel, my name is Scott Edwards. I make all sorts of photography, video, tech related videos, so if they are the sorts of things you are interested in, consider clicking that little subscribe button just down below there and come and be a part of this community. Now let's talk about the Ulanzi Claw quick release. It has to be said first up that this little device that I'm going to show you right now has solved all of my problems when it comes to attaching my camera to different pieces of camera gear. As we've just spoken about, it can be a bit of a hassle. This, however, just makes everything so much simpler and pretty much instant to attach your camera to anything you want to. You see, the last thing you want to be doing when you're out and about shooting is messing around with different sorts of attachments. As we've just mentioned, it is fiddly, it takes time, and not to mention, if you lose one of the plates you need to attach your camera to a piece of gear, you're not going to be able to use that piece of gear until you find it or have to buy a new attachment for it, because you have no way of attaching your camera to that bit of gear without the plate. So for example, if I wanted to have my camera on my GorillaPod and then switch it over to my gimbal, this would be the process that I would have had to go through before these Ulanzi clips. The first step will be to unscrew and remove the camera from the GorillaPod. Then you have to unscrew the plate that attaches the camera to the GorillaPod. Then you have to find the plate on the gimbal and attach it to your camera where the other one was screwed in before, and then you have to tighten it with a spanner thing, so you have to remember your little spanner or your pocket knife so you can do that, and then you have to slide it onto your gimbal, and this is all before balancing your gimbal as well. However, now with the Ulanzi Claw quick release, all I have to do is unclip your camera from one piece of gear and pop it straight into the other one, just like that, and then you can lock it into place. And away you go. You can now use that piece of gear exactly how you intended it to. So these are the Ulanzi Claw grips themselves, and there are two bits to this. So you have the plate, which is like any other tripod plate that attaches to the bottom of your camera. You have your little screw, and in the bottom of it as well, you also have a little flip up ring that allows you to turn the screw easily, but as well it also has this slight slit down the middle, so you can tighten it up with a pocket knife if you need to tighten it up and make it even more secure. And you also get the base part as well, which when you have the plate attached to your camera just slots directly inside and clips into place just like that. And then on one side you have a little lock switch, so you can push that to one side and know that your camera is not going to go anywhere. I mean, you're never going to have any trouble with these. That is secure as anything, and I can prove it with this one on here. That is not going anywhere at all. So then if you wanted to release it, you would then flick the little lock switch back and press in the buttons on both sides, and that then unclips. and you have your camera and you can go and pop it on anything else. So the beauty of these is you can literally buy as many of them as you want depending on how much gear you have that you attach your camera to, and you can pop these base plates on all of your gear, keep one of the plates attached to your camera at all times, and then just take your camera from one piece of gear to the other so easily. I mean, it doesn't get any easier than that. It's incredible. You can just flick back and to as much as you want instead of having to undo plates and remember plates, and make sure you have the right accessories with you to attach your camera to those pieces of gear you want to be using. Now again, this might only seem like a small issue to you, or it might not even seem like an issue at all, but it genuinely does save so much time when flicking between different bits of gear. As well, if you have, I think it's called an Arca Swiss mount on some of your pieces of gear, this has these slits down the sides so you can easily slide it into that Arca Swiss mount, which is very useful. Now you can also get these quick releases with a ball head joint, which is incredibly useful, and that is what I have attached to my GorillaPod now. I love using my GorillaPod. I know some people really dislike them, but I use this quite a lot, and I have replaced the original ball head that was on the GorillaPod with the Ulanzi ball head joint. I believe this is called the U100 when you have it attached to the ball head. And basically I did this because my old GorillaPod, you had to actually manually unscrew it, and then you had the plate that kind of gets jammed in there sometimes. With this, again, it's the same quick release attached to the ball head, and I can just go straight between all of my different pieces of gear as I wish. Now, if you are interested in these quick release plates, I will attach the links to both the ball head joint and just the quick release plates in the description below. So if you want to go and have a look, go and check them out. I think genuinely, if you are into filmmaking and even photography, you will find these so useful. It just means all your attachments are the same, and it's one less thing to think about when you are carrying all your gear around, because as we already know, if you are carrying gimbals and tripods, there's a lot to think about. Now they do also make a clip which can attach to your camera bag or your belt, so you can carry your camera around hands-free as well, which I'm definitely interested in, because it just means you can carry your camera around hands-free and always have access whenever you need it without having to get your camera out of your bag. Or if you're on a long hike, you don't want to worry about dropping your camera, it can just be attached to your camera bag strap. I think that's genius, and again, it uses the same quick release plate, so it's a win-win. So if you like what you see on this channel, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and click that little subscribe button. That is it for this video. I shall see you very soon in another one.
Yeah.